Now, Jackie, there's it's almost like an inevitable follow-up, I suppose, from last week's clip of the week. This clip's got quite a lot of views on social media, and I just feel that we had to discuss it because there's an issue of this new party, and also how do people address a subject like anti-Zionism? Is it such a big thing? Can you just not address it at all? Is it possible to sort of push it away as an issue? This is Jeremy Corbyn being confronted I think it's in Whitehall, by Annie, that we've had on the show actually before.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Can I just ask one question, please? Will you be coming out like Zara Sultana and declaring yourself as an anti-Zionist? No, I'm just an activist.
We're not doing any
I'm
here to speak about Gaza. I'm here to speak for the Palestinian people.
I just want to know as a member of the party.
I'm here to speak for the Palestinian people and speak in solidarity with them. That's the point of being here today. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
Yemi has two. She was just asking one question. It's not a big deal. Did he give you an answer?
No, and I just want to know, as a lot
of
We can have a conversation.
No, I mean with this, it's going to keep being asked it. You can't kind of not answer it. It's got to be answered, really, hasn't it? Because it's just not going to go away. What's your take on this, Jackie?
Right, well, I'm not going to do a short answer. I'm really not going to do a short answer. So you're going to have to bide with me a bit, because actually this week has been extremely difficult. And I have literally gone through anxiety, anger, distress, and real fear for the future. And because what I saw was what we all know was an ordinary activist. And I say that because on social media, this was being portrayed by some who were sort of see themselves as Jeremy supporters. This was portrayed as a setup. It was not a setup. And I also researched and saw what happened before that. And you can see it's not a setup. This is just an ordinary committed activist who was berated on social media because she asked a totally reasonable political question to somebody she views and respects as a leader. Now, she had waited while Jeremy had given a very detailed response to a reporter on issues about Gaza, on what was going to happen in the future. And then she was, as you then saw, immediately blocked by a Corbyn advisor. And the response she got from him was, and you can see this without any doubt, it was evasive, it was edgy, and it was highly defensive. And for many of us, that in itself was a concern. Now, you might say, well, that's not fair. He was on the back foot. But listen, Jeremy and his advisors have known and have been preparing for years now for this moment. They must have known that this question would come up. And if they didn't know, then God help us. God help us, because what we're going to face is going to be so much worse than one of our activists asking a question about it. What's going to happen, for example, when Jeremy is faced by an Andrew Neil, for example? What's going to happen when the genocide is over? When the carcass of Gaza is being picked over by the crows that we've just seen now, the crows that we call Blair, the crows that we call Netanyahu. And he's asked directly, which he will be, about the legitimacy of the state of Israel. The question is, will he be, as Bernie Sanders, claiming that the real thing wrong with Israel is actually Netanyahu? Will he do that? But look at the statistics. because we all know that that is lies. Now, yes, absolutely, I believe the majority of Israelis want to see an end to the war now. But we also know that the majority of Israelis vehemently want one state, and they want a Jewish state. Now, last time I heard, Jeremy was still talking about his support for a two-state solution. Now, that's something which even our adversaries are saying is impossible now. Now, will he answer that that's complicated? How did it work for him last time he tried that? Well, you know, anti-Semitism and false claims of anti-Semitism to my supporters and to me is complicated. What will be his defense of party members who have marched, who have been arrested, who have been imprisoned, who have lost jobs, who have lost reputation, who have lost family, who have lost friends? What will be his answer there about a people who will insist on having the right to have supremacy over the people they are oppressing? Now, I've asked a number of other questions on your party over a space of time. I've asked, for example, who has the database? Who is on the planning committees? Who is controlling the funds that are already accumulating? I've asked, where is the November conference? Because, you know, like we're into September already. I've asked, who's on the planning committee? I've asked, will the conference decide the structure of the leadership? And there's no real response coming. In fact, there's the same kind of response that we saw Jeremy give there, which is kind of don't ask those questions. It's all a bit inconvenient at the moment. And what I'm saying is that they've already got our database. They've already been sending us emails out, asking for money, asking us for support, all very good things to ask us. But they could easily be keeping us informed, certainly about who are making those kind of choices. They could be doing that. They are not. I've been told, by the way, that my views don't represent a majority of people, that they represent a minority. Not amongst the activists, it doesn't. And let's remember, all movements need activists. Let's remember what happened last time activists were ignored, and even worse, the kind of things that activists had to go through while Corbyn was the leader of the party. And just look now at what's happened to the Labour Party that stripped itself of all activists. Now, no mass party can function or thrive without its activists, because it's very easy to hold a rally when all you're doing is talking platitudes and, you know, you're talking about aspirations for peace and justice and hope. People will jump to their feet and applaud, but it's a very different job to actually change hearts and minds, to get people out to the ballot box, to build community capacity. That is a different task. Now, this week I've been briefed against, I've been accused of being a Zionist. I've been accused of being an infiltrator, trying to break the chances of a new party. I've been accused of trying to have a witch hunt against Corbyn. Me, trying to have a witch hunt. I mean, how actually dare they? Some of those people who were actually party to a witch hunt. Now, I've already been smeared by someone supposedly on our side who immediately, by the way, pivoted to anti-Semitism when I asked him where he stood on anti-Zionism. And really? Is that where we still are? You know, are we still at the point where if we ask those questions, some people who are supposedly on our side accuse us of anti-Semitism? I mean, is it that actually already they have drunk that kind of Kool-Aid that we've been offered that equates anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism? So I've thought hard about what to say. I've thought very hard on whether to say actually anything at all. And I'm just saying now that my political responses of the moment have been formed not just by some long ago past or some theory. They've been formed by the fact that I was deeply embedded in the last Corbyn project. I know most of the people and have worked with most of the people now involved in it. That's why I'm asking these questions. That's why I'm speaking out now. You know, why I'm speaking now is because I'm absolutely terrified of what's happening, not just in the dreadful genocide in Gaza, but what's happening now on our streets. Now, Corbyn said very clearly when he was speaking to that activist that he's speaking for Palestine and for Palestinians. I have not heard one reliable Palestinian voice avoid a discussion on Zionism on the grounds that it's not a useful term, because they're living and dying under Zionism. And I'm just going to finish with this. Some of you may know of an activist called Mahmoud Khalil. He was a Palestinian refugee academic activist from Colombia. He was the guy who was imprisoned and almost deported by Trump. He's subsequently been released. And he was speaking about the fact that he feels Zionism is in fact a doomed project. And he said, and I'm going to read this off now, he says, Zionism's only defense is by portraying Israel as a normal state, as an ordinary state. But our work as activists is to strip that facade until Israel stands exposed as a pariah state, until the Zionist genocidal project and the ideology of supremacy that it's built on collapses completely. So am I a minority? Well, I may be a minority. I don't know. I don't think so, because I think I'm speaking out on and behalf of many, many people, the many, not the few, who believe that we need Corbyn and Sultana with their diverse views, reflecting the diversity of a movement I want to thrive.
Well, thank you, Jackie. I know that was difficult for you to talk about. It's difficult for me to bring this subject up, but in a way, we've got 2 months till this party's even got a name. So we've got to talk about it now before it's too late. So anyone who's saying this is divisive, it will be maybe later on, but now it's in formation. We should be addressing these things.